My name is Weldon Wade. I'm an avid ocean advocate, diver, and community activist. Well, for me, what I love doing the most is bringing the community together. I love hosting beach cleanups and lionfish calling events, bringing businesses and the community in general together to unite for a common purpose, which would, in the cases that I'm involved in, is removing trash from the ocean. I mean, the ocean really connects us all, and connecting with people globally has been important to getting my message out there. So it's been a wonderful experience connecting with schools and students to talk about the problems that our ocean faces. And it's great to get together with other ocean heroes to talk about what we're doing and getting our message across. I believe one of the cornerstones to protecting the ocean is human connection and awareness. So the more people are aware of how important the ocean is to our health and our well-being, that's very valuable. Okay, we are back. Hello and welcome to the Wade in the Water Lake Live Show, Episode 2. I'm your host, Weldon Wade. I'm a diver, an educator, an advocate for ocean sustainability. I'm also a PADI ambassador diver, and it's my job to get you diving and keep you diving with a purpose. So you know how this goes. The plan is to run this limited series for about 10 weeks, so strap in and hold on tight. What happens after the 10th episode? Watch this space. Am I good on audio? Is the video okay? I hope so. Shout out to TBI for this flawless internet that keeps us up. Okay, hold on. Let me put this up. Just an expat's opinion. They need to put your statue next to the Johnny Barnes statue. Goodness, I think I should. Chris, thank you so much for that quick early shout out. I think I probably need to log, like, if we look at the amount of hours Johnny Barnes spent at Crow Lane and the amount of hours I need to dive to kind of match that. Oh my goodness, I'd have to like live underwater for like 50 years to catch up with Johnny Barnes. So guys, share, like, follow, comment, and subscribe. It all matters. It'll help the show grow. If you'd like to be a guest, jump on impromptu like Jessica did last week, or sponsor, just send a note to hello@weldonwade.com. So I'm broadcasting live from my home here in Bermuda, where I was born and raised. And out here, we are enjoying summer 2021 as much as we can, all things considered. I ain't got to talk about what the world's going through right now, but hey, we're doing the best we can with what we have on this little island in the middle of the Atlantic. And just to touch on that, today we had a high of 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius, which is super toasty, and the sea surface temperature was about 83.7 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm just going to share something with you guys real quick. I'm gonna kind of do some stuff in the future where I show you guys how to use cool weather tools, but what we should see is one of the tools I use a lot. It's windy.com. And yeah, there we have Bermuda right in the center of your screen. I want to mention Tropical Storm Fred down there on the north coast of the Dominican Republic, doing some damage down there. Shout out to my best friend Keenan, who's down there with his wonderful wife Melissa, my godson, and his daughter Kiana and Kendry. They're keeping safe. I mentioned this to him. I was like, "Are you guys cool?" I'm seeing all kinds of weird things on Qualified Captain's Instagram feed of like things getting blown over and blown around. But he said that the mountains are protecting the area that he's in, so that's cool. So yeah, this is kind of a good visual of why we've had such phenomenal like weather. That's what we're dealing with. And if you hit windy.com, you can see what I'm seeing here. You can press play and it does a really cool animation and it plays out the forecast with different models on the lower right. But yeah, that's what's up with what's going on there. Any questions about the weather or any other things going on that, I'm happy to bring those, answer them the best I can. And I'm learning every day. But what we're going to do, let's talk about a few things that have gone on and are, what I've been up to over the past week before we dive right into tonight's topic. And joining me tonight, and she is backstage. I'm looking right at her, live and direct, Jessica Lee from Diving with Jess. So she's her, you guys. So don't worry. Any questions about diving? That's our topic. Getting started in scuba diving, and that's what Jessica and I are going to talk about at great length. I'm going to lean into Jessica because I'm not a diving instructor. I've been a very avid recreational and technical diver for a long time, but I'm not an instructor. I got some little insights and things I've learned over time about how to navigate the space. And Jessica's, this is her thing. This is what she does, right? So let me just share a little bit of news. So on Monday, Keep Bermuda Beautiful had Shelley Bay looking great after successful collaboration with Hamilton Parish Council, the Department of Parks, Ministers Derek Burgess and Wayne Furbert from the government came out as well as numerous KBB volunteers. I popped by as well to see how they were making out and say hi to Katie. So I just want to send a special thank you to Esme Williams and Cheryl Ann Griffith for working with the wonderful people at Keep Bermuda Beautiful on that project. Switching gears, BIOS, the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences, there's a new exhibit exploring the intersection of art and science. It's open now at the Bermuda National Gallery up in Dockyard. It's entitled Dark Seas, Swimming with Sea Butterflies. It presents a series of artwork produced in collaboration with bioscientists Amy Mass and Licado Blanco Bersalio as part of ongoing research projects studying marine snails and small crustaceans. Artists Leslie Bell and Sam Newton worked alongside Mass and Blanco Bercial over a period of 3 years creating artwork that not only communicate the subject matter, but help us recognize that art and science are both part of the same human drive to know and understand. The exhibit is on display until October, right through October. BUEI, I mentioned BUEI before about their youth summit. So the Bermuda Underwater Exploration Institute is proud to announce the island's first ever youth climate summit. During a full week in November, young people ages 13 through 22 will focus on climate issues, accumulating in a year-long action-based volunteer project managed by a youth climate advisory. The week will include, but won't be limited to, 4 days of online interactive learning designed to foster a common understanding of climate issues, which is very important. 2 days on site at BUEI to engage with Bermuda-based environmental groups, and then they'll map out a course of action to collectively address an issue of their choosing. So by providing young people with background information, the opportunity for group deliberation, and access to a resource panel of experts, the Youth Climate Summit will offer a unique opportunity for participants to work together, develop informed opinions, and create action plans in support of local efforts to address climate-related issues. The creation of a Youth Climate Advisory Board and its resulting action plans will represent attendees' collective commitment to support and partner with local environmental groups to address critical issues. So registration for this, like, first event of its kind in Bermuda, as far as I know, opens October 15th. So switching from local to regional, just real quick, is I'd love to share my thoughts next week during episode 3 on the newly released IPCC Working Group's 6th assessment report. Boil it all down, it shows that the world will probably reach or exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit of warming within just the next few decades. So a little something to think about. So between now and next week, look up this report, get it together, and we'll talk about it. That won't be our topic of the week, but we'll certainly highlight it in the monologue. What did I get up to this past week? Well, I'm going to touch on some stuff, and then I'm going to bring Jessica up to get our topic rolling. But in Bermuda, certain times of the year, usually summertime, you swim at night in pitch black water in certain spots, and you might get lucky as you step into the water and you kind of wade in the water, no pun intended, till it gets to about your chest, and move your hands through the ocean, or sorry, through the water. It'll glow. So bioluminescence or bioluminous water is definitely prevalent in Clarence Cove. If you were to go there tonight, take a light and go check it out. It's beautiful. I got so many stories about taking friends down there that have never seen bioluminescence before, never knew Bermuda had bioluminescence. And I think when you think about anything in the ocean glowing, you think about our glowworms. And there's a little special formula to our glowworms as well They do a reproductive dance certain times of the month. I think it's 3 days after every full moon at a certain time, specifically like down to the second. Their mating dance creates a glow, and then it goes away. I'm gotta be honest. Yes, I admit I've never seen this before. I've only heard about it. I've always missed it. But what I have not missed is the bioluminescence. And all I can say is that, like, especially when you put a diving mask on and you can see like crystal clear, it looks like glowing glitter as you move your hands through the water, and then as you step, your steps glow too. It's really really dope. If you checked out my post on social, you'll see that I spent quite a lot of time snorkeling Tobacco Bay and exploring Bermuda's South Shore. My latest post before the post featuring this show was just me kind of holed up in a crack in the cliff face, just filming a school of fry, and it was just super beautiful. I got sent out there to look for some keys that were lost, and found the keys, documented that too. It was pretty dope, and just snorkeling back to the beach to help myself to the bar. I'm just on Swizzle. Cheers to the Swizzle at Tobacco Bay and Denny and the gang down there. That's water, by the way. Wonderful time. Now, Tobacco Bay is one of Bermuda's, I would say for sure, top 5 snorkeling spots. It's really dope. As soon as you get off the beach, out to the reef, snorkel right around, and if you're up for it, snorkel all the way to Achilles Bay, and if you're up for an extra push, jump around Fort St. Catherine and around to the St. Regis Hotels beach. It's all beautiful. It's gorgeous. Jessica, I mentioned last week that we protect our parrot fish, and essentially if it's got color, if it's pretty, if it's beautiful, we tend to leave those alone. So angelfish, parrotfish, it's illegal to harvest them in any way. So they tend to grow anywhere 2.5, 3.5 feet large. And when you're snorkeling, guys, what's really great is you can hear the reef. There's a crackling of the reef that you can hear, and that just speaks to a healthy reef. And then you can hear the crunching. You can hear the and the louder the crunching, you know that the larger the parrotfish. It's pretty wild. So that's how you can kind of track them, and you're just silently coasting on the surface of the water, and you just see these guys, and they don't let you get too close, but they let you get pretty close. It's pretty dope. Bermuda South Shore has been amazing. Like I said earlier, the weather's been phenomenal, and sun's out, buns out, and again, like despite everything that we're going through and a little bit of a spike going on right now, guys, if you're tuning in from Bermuda on the live or on the replay, get outside, let the sun shine on your face, put on your swimming trunks and your bathing suit. Check out Rebecca over at Tabs. Grab yourself a new pair of shorts and a new rash guard, and just get out there to the beach. Put your toes in the sand. Go in the water. If you're scared of that, we'll talk about that in a second with Jess. But if you're scared of the water, just go up to your ankles. Go up to your ankles. It's beautiful, man. Sand's pink, sun shining, clear, crystal clear water. People pay thousands of dollars and fly thousands of miles to enjoy our backyard. So please, the beach is never more than a mile away. If there's any takeaway, man, and I say this to everybody respectfully, get out there and enjoy yourselves. So that's my monologue and intro. We're 14 minutes into the stream as far as I can tell. I'm guessing the audio and video is good. Got a couple of comments. This is my, hey. Thank you, sir. Just out here building it while we fly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop my headphones on and bring Jessica Lee to the stage. And we're going to talk about getting you into scuba diving. So we're going to narrow in our topic. You know me, I like to dabble around all the disciplines. But tonight, our topic is scuba. And I already have some questions for us that have been emailed. I got some questions over WhatsApp from my buddy Curtis Richardson, who asked some really cool questions, but I'll bring all that to the forefront right about now. Jess, are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. She's ready. She was ready 50 minutes ago. Guys, Jessica Lee.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How's everything going?
It's good. It is good. It's a nice warm summer day. So
Yeah, tell us a little about Texas. What you been up to for the past week? It's been a week already since I'd seen your face.
yeah, it's nice and a little bit warmer here than Bermuda. So it's been in the 90s
Oh,
Fahrenheit.
okay. Okay.
And so it's it's a little toasty. There's a lot of glistening that happens down here. So you get used to it. But yeah, no, it's been beautiful. We've had really nice weather. It's been sunny, so just soaking it in.
Dope. I mean, I'm just like, I heard your words and I'm processing and I'm taking myself back to the only time I'd been to Texas, and it was toasty, beautiful, and like I mentioned last week, the refineries and the mosquitoes, but a really nice snow cone on the
You're
beach.
killing it.
Yeah, it was cool. Certainly, I remember stopping at a Mexican spot on our way to the dock to get aboard the Fling. Had some great Mexican food. I didn't see. I don't consider that actually being me visiting Texas. I only overnighted to come back. I didn't get a chance to immerse myself in the vibes. So that means I gotta come back. And I this diving thing. I don't know. It's something I've always had an interest in. But I really want to learn how to dive when I come to Texas. And so, do you have any tips for me to get into this thing called scuba diving? I think you breathe from a tank on your back, and there's all kinds of different apparatus that you need to use. I'm kidding. So
We're gonna take it back to the basics, Weldon.
yeah,
We're gonna have to
yeah,
bring
yeah,
you all
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah.
back.
Yeah, the tank of oxygen. No, it's not oxygen.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, all kidding aside, yeah, I'm happy to let you yeah, dive into the topic of the your recommendations. Could be a few, three, four, five recommendations that you think would help benefit those that are tuning in on the live or watching the replay that are interested in getting into this thing that we love so much, scuba diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This is one of my favorite topics, and anyone who knows me who's tuning in knows that once you get me started on talking about scuba diving, it's a dangerous, it's a slippery slope. So I probably won't stop.
No,
But
no, no. We're her, and this isn't like we could. We're her as long as we want to be here. So let's do it.
yeah, so this is my favorite thing to talk about. So,
Nice.
um, and one of the first tip that I'm going to share is actually how I got into scuba diving, which is crazy for me to think because, like I shared last time, so I've been diving for 18 years. I was a scientific diver, well, still am, but I became a scientific diver, and yep. Scientific
I'm
diver,
taking
and
notes.
then so went through the AUS program, and then I moved into, I became a dive master, mainly for work, actually, because they needed someone who was both a scientific diver and AUS, and a dive master. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be an instructor. I just want to be a dive master. It's cool. You get to have fun, and I don't need that responsibility. And I was a dive master failure. I did not stay a dive master for long. I just went right into instructing because I just loved it so much. But what's cool is how I got into scuba diving was a try scuba. So some people, it's also called Discover Scuba. Some people who are just like ready to sign up for the class, they're all in. They know that's what they want to do. That's amazing and awesome. And some people, they just want to try it out first. They want to see, is this for me? Is this something that I actually want to do and take the time and the money to go through the whole class? And so try scuba is such a fun way. You just get to learn kind of some of like the quick little tidbit information, a little bit of safety, a little bit of gear, and then you actually get to get in the pool or depending on where you are, in like a confined water area. And you get to try out the gear. You get to breathe underwater. You get to see what it feels like and see if it's something that you're interested in. And I would definitely recommend, don't gauge your entire opinion on scuba diving off of a try scuba, because you have to remember that it's brand new to you. You haven't learned any of the skills. You haven't done that, but it's such a fun way to see, if you're on the fence or if it's something that you're just kind of interested in and have a fun afternoon off. It doesn't take very much time at all. And so that's how I started. I was I hopped in, I went with my family. Some local dive shop was having a try scuba, and I hopped in and went around. And my instructor likes to say, he was also my first boss, because I ended up working at the dive shop, and that's how my career, and that was my first job, was working at a dive shop. I've been in it for a
That's
long
so
time.
cool.
I
That's
was a
cool.
little baby working in a dive shop, you know. But yeah, he would like to tease and say that I like cut off the circulation to his hand. I don't remember that. Also, he was like ex special forces, so if I cut off his circulation, I'm just saying I'm pretty strong. I don't know, but
All right.
but you know, I had a lot of fun, and we just kind of hung around and swam around. And the second we got out, and after he was done taking everyone else around, he's like, "Does anyone else want to go for a second try?" And, and that was it. I was hooked.
Nice.
So yeah, try scuba is such a, or discover scuba is such a great way to, if you're not sure if it's for you, or if you know you have a friend who's like super on board, and you're like, well, I'll try it. I'll try it. Be careful, you might get hooked like I did. But yeah, try scuba it was really great. It's like the gateway into getting to try it out.
So what's the most memorable, if you were to just thinking about the dive itself in terms of the first time putting your eyes underwater? What do you remember even to this day?
I remember that first breath. So
Okay.
ever since I was a kid, I was an avid swimmer. I love swimming. I love being in the water. So goofing
Mm,
around on the surface and swimming wasn't new to me. But having that equipment on and breathing through my regulator for the first time,
mhm.
and that moment, and I'll get into this on my second point, but that moment of when your body is saying like, dude, you can't breathe underwater. And you take
Yeah.
your first breath in and you can
Yeah.
breathe underwater. It's so fantastic. It's such a cool, weird, wonderful experience. And it's so fun because I've been diving for a very long time. And whenever I was doing it just for fun, recreationally, and then for work scientifically, you kind of forget what those like first moments are like. But being an instructor and getting to teach open water classes over and over and over again,
Oh yeah.
I get to I get to see that moment where people breathe underwater for the first time. I get to see that moment when like skills click for the first time. And it's so fun because those are things that maybe a more experienced diver, you might forget what it was like
Yeah.
when you didn't know.
You
Yeah.
just kind of keep it moving forward, and you
And
sort of
yeah,
not.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something that's so small as, you know, it's kind of like watching your favorite movie with someone who's never seen it before, and they're like
Right.
reacting to it, and it's kind of like that for me, where you get to experience it again. And so that first thing, the breathing underwater, when your body's like, you can't do this, and then
Yeah,
you
it's just
can. It's
not
great.
supposed to be. I'd love to also quickly share with the audience my experience and sort of add a little bit more to that, Jess, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So I learned through the Professional Association of Diving Instructors, PADI, and yeah, they've got these, all of the PADI dive operators around the world offer this Discover Scuba Diving experience. Now, my first scuba dive was a Discover Scuba Diving experience with one of the local dive operators at the west end of the island here in Bermuda called Blue Water Divers. And diving for me was a bucket list item. It was something I wanted to try before leaving Bermuda to move to Canada. And so, in that first experience, I just remember, just like Jess said, you cover some basics. You cover basically of the equipment, some basic hand and safety signals, but the instructor is never more than an arm's reach away from you as you take your first breath underwater. And I remember this like it was not yesterday, but last week. I remember the instructor taking me and my buddy, who I'd never met before, down into the sand. And we were down, like, it seemed quite deep at the time, but it was only about 20 feet. So just two stories. And I remember her name's Marie. She's dope. Shout out Marie. Love you. Miss you. She took us down, put us on our knees in the sand. And I just remember looking around, taking those first breaths, and the sand was coarse and pink, and there's a pudding white fish that's like looking in the our as we would stir up the sand, it's looking for little critters to eat. And I just remember, Jess, like, I'm like, why am I just doing this? So in contrast to your journey in scuba, and we'll touch on this as we elaborate, you're already swimming, and that's a big thing. We're going to dive into that soon. Already swimming, young, did the DSD, got hooked. Yeah. Me, I was older, bucket list item. No one, I don't really like call myself a swimmer, but I can swim. And yeah, so my little thing to add before we move on to our next bit of advice would be, don't wait. Bermuda and every other pretty much place around the world has a local dive shop that offers an experience like this. And certainly a patty shop would have what we call DSD. Call, book, try it. Boom. Jess.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, it's so true. It's one of those where I've had a lot of people where they're like, why did I wait so long? Like, why did I think this wasn't for me? Why did I, or you didn't know about it. Maybe you just had never heard about it or didn't have anyone to dive with. That's when you get your friends to come and sign up with you, because then you have a built-in dive buddy. But
Nice.
it's fantastic. So my second kind of tidbit point is, this is new. You haven't done this before. Don't expect to be perfect at everything right away. These are skills that a lot of times whenever you're learning something new, especially if like you were, Weldon, and you're an adult, whenever you took this class, you're not, in that, whenever like kids and stuff sign up, a lot of times I always say kids are my best students, because they're still in that learning mindset and they're used to like following instructions. A lot of times I'll get adults who come in and they know what's best. But it's so cool, because when was the last time you learned something brand new? When was the last time you got to do something for the first time? A lot of times, like once we are at a certain point in our lives, we kind of are doing the same things and we're doing all of this. But with newness comes discomfort, right? So clearing your mask for the first time, breathing underwater for the first time. Maybe it's that swim test that you have to do just to make sure that you can do a survival swim. All of those things are things that you maybe haven't been asked to do before. And your instructor doesn't expect you to be able to do them perfectly. Whenever I'm teaching, I'm demonstrating a skill and I'm doing it nice and slow and I'm showing it and I do it right the first time. Well, of course I do. I'm your instructor. I'm not expecting you. That's why we're here. That's why we're practicing. You're learning this new skill set, and it's cool because it's educational. It's something that you're learning up here, but it's also muscle memory. So the more you dive, the better you get at it. So the more times you clear your mask, the better you get at it. The more times you equalize, the more times you have to do your quick disconnect on your low pressure inflator hose. These are all things that I see people struggle with, and I see them get frustrated and they like to beat themselves up. Why can't I do this? Oh, I came in and I thought I was gonna be able to do this perfectly. I'm a great swimmer, so I thought I'd be perfect at it right away. I snorkeled in Mexico once, so I thought I'd be perfect at it right away. But I don't expect that, and your instructor doesn't expect that of you. It's a new skill, and that's what's so fun about it, but also that's where you see that struggle. But what's really cool is watching my students move through those different phases. So there's the, sometimes in the beginning, there's either apprehension or the like, I've got this, overconfidence. And then there's the middle part of, maybe there's that one skill that you're tripping up on. And I know you can do it because I've watched you do it. But sometimes when you're repeating it, people get up in their heads and you see it on their face. There's that moment of like uncertainness or panic almost. And then watching them overcome that and learn to stop and slow down and breathe and do the skill when they're ready. And then later on, you don't even realize it. So especially when it comes to math skills, people sometimes will struggle with it in the pool. And then we're out the lake and you're having a great time on your fun dive and you're clearing your mask like it's no big deal. And I didn't ask you to, you're just doing it. And that's such a cool thing. So you're not expecting to be perfect at it right away and enjoying the fact that you're getting to learn something new for the first time. And maybe maybe not, maybe you're always learning new things, but, and it's great. It discomfort is good. Sometimes we get too comfortable. So
I know.
trying something new. And the other thing, talking about discomfort, talk to your instructor. Tell your instructor what's going on in your head. My students who communicate with me, they're the students who do the best, even if they technically are struggling more than maybe someone else who got their regulator clear on the first try. But my student who maybe is physically struggling with a skill, who is talking me through, like, oh man, I just keep getting in my head. Oh man, it feels really uncomfortable when I do this certain thing. If you tell me what's going on, if you talk to your instructor, we're not mind readers. We might pretend, but we're not mind readers. We're human. So tell us what's going on, because a lot of times it's whenever someone's having a problem with a skill, it's more up here than them physically being able to do the skill. And if something's uncomfortable, or you feel like you're doing it wrong, or a lot of times, like, we've been doing this a long time, your instructor's been doing this a long time, so we might have some cool tips and tricks to help you. I don't know your mouthpiece is rubbing the inside of your mouth funny if you don't tell me. I'm good, but I'm not that good. So, just being really open, and don't let your ego get in the way, because we all have egos and there's nothing wrong with that. But making sure, I don't care if you're a big, burly, professional fighter, or if you are the tiniest, smallest kid in your class. Everyone's going to struggle with something, and everyone's going to experience it differently. So make sure that you're talking to your instructor, and they can help find a different way. And there's so many different ways we can adapt and change things to make sure that you're still learning the skills you need to learn, but help you do it in a way that makes sense to you, because everyone learns differently. So while you're learning this amazing, cool new thing called scuba diving, talk to your instructor, let them know what's going on up in that brain of yours.
Yeah. Super, super valid points. And I got a question over my WhatsApp. It's asking, where it go? Hold on. There you go. What is the most challenging skill when you're teaching?
For the student, I'm assuming, or for me?
For the student.
A lot of times it's the math skills. So
okay.
Whether it is the partial clear, or the fully flooded mask, or the mask removal and replace, it's that moment. It's that moment of having the water against the face. So you've got your regulator in your mouth, you're fine. And that's what I tell my students. If you have your reg in your mouth, you are fine. You're good. You're golden. You can breathe. Anything else we can figure out, but your body lies to you. It's like your sweet, overprotective mother. Sometimes, to keep you safe, she lies to you. She's trying to protect you. So you're underwater. You're somewhere you're not supposed to be. You're breathing underwater. Your body's like, I don't know what this is. And then you take your mask off. So now water's touching your nose. Water's touching your eyes, or your eyelids if your eyes are closed. And your body's like, dude, this isn't cool. I'm dying. You're not dying. And so it's
not drowning.
Like, stop, breathe, think, and then move through your skill. Let your training take over. It's the same thing in emergency situations. Let your training take over. That's why muscle memory is so important, because you do what you practice. So if you half go through things and you're super relaxed about stuff, whenever it comes to safety or skills, whenever that time where you really need that skill, you're going to do what you've always done. You're not going to do, oh, well, I'll do what the textbook told me to do. No, it's what you practice. So a lot of times it's those math skills. And it's not for everyone. Everyone is different. But that's where I see the most struggle, is that discomfort of having the water against the face without the mask on. But then people overcome it, and they do great.
Yeah, I would agree that just thinking back to when I first started, and then all the stuff I've seen, over the years doing what I do, whenever the mask is flooding or it does flood, or you have to do that skill of having your mask on, you've got that air pocket between your eyes and the glass, and then you have to flood that, take your mask off completely, putting your mask back on, and clearing the water, especially at depth, can be something that people are like, this is something that I can't quite get done, but we do. And practice makes perfect, but absolutely communicating with your instructor. But I just want to talk about the obstacles. Like, Jess, you hit on some obstacles, and I know that many people on the live and on the replay that have probably done a DSD before, I would say that more often than not, in my experience, in my worldview, in many cases, that's the first and last dive that they do. And I just want to give you an example. If you happened to visit a resort, sign up for a Discover Scuba Diving experience, and the sea surface conditions were choppy, the boat was small and full of people, burning outboard or inboard fumes. So you got the fumes, you got the chop, you haven't taken any anti-nausea medication at all. The gear is rental equipment, so it's not fit for you. Things are just pretty much generic so that it can fit everybody, and you get in it and it's cool, it's safe, but it's not fit for you. It's just rental equipment. So when you have some cumulative factors that really measure up to make an experience not ideal, that can turn people off from diving. I know friends that have gotten nauseous on that first boat trip, or just had an uncomfortable experience being on the boat, whether it's fumes, chop. Um, many of my peers go to other countries where English isn't a first language, so there's sometimes language barriers. So I would just advise everyone to don't let those obstacles get in your way of uh, getting into this wonderful form of recreation that has become a career for many people. It's become a form of, certainly recreation. Some people have made it a lifestyle. It's all I gotta say, right? I pushed through a lot of obstacles, and what I want to do, Jess, is talk about probably like the cornerstone obstacle um, in a second. But you're not always going to have the flat water, the big boat where it's only you and your buddy and the instructor and the captain. Um, the conditions can change. And yeah, my boat, I have a 2003 Mercury two-stroke. She does get a little fumesy, and you're inhaling that. You're not, you're learning new skills as well. So it's a lot going on. And if the boat is loud, your instructor's telling you things as you're making your way out, you don't understand what he or she is saying sometimes, and you're just like, wow, I'm about to breathe underwater. Like, this is so unusual. And it's the first time I'm doing it. I'm learning something new. I just, took all the debrief stuff on shore, and, you head out, and you're feeling all these new sensations on top of everything else. So the journey is beautiful. There will be obstacles. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I wish that everyone's first experience was ideal, but there will be obstacles in your way that's gonna, you know, and it's not the agency and the instructor and the captain and crew. They don't want this to happen, but nature takes its course, and sometimes there are things out of the control of the instructor that you just sometimes have to push yourself through. And I've got 13, 14 years of stories that I can share, about my experience. Jess has her experiences as well, but absolutely, talk with your instructor, overcome the obstacles, and go into it recognizing, like, okay, yep, this is gonna be a bit challenging, but Patty do a wonderful job at providing the tools and resources, the e-learning, the books, and the instructors that go through rigorous training as well, to create a system that makes it as easy as possible, considering you're breathing from compressed air in an aluminum tank with regulators, mask, and the whole bit, right? So yeah, we're aquanauts out here, and it's an amazing world under the surface. Which is beautiful. But the vibe I want to touch on, though, and you hit on it earlier, is a lot of people avoid scuba because there's a misconception of sorts that you have to be a good swimmer. So that's what I want to drill into, is that not everybody swims, and just because you're from an island or live in a coastal community, that doesn't mean by default you know how to swim. There's a lot of reasons why people choose to avoid the ocean. There are a lot of reasons why people choose not to learn how to swim, whether it's spiritual, whether it's mythological, with, like, there's monsters, there's that fear, um, or some trauma, and I've witnessed some stuff. But certainly knowing how to swim is it's required. And you know, you don't have to be a good swimmer. So what I want to do is just talk about that, because I think a lot of people in the room are in that, you know, if they don't do it, there's reasons. And a lot of times when I talk to people out on these streets, they're like, yo, I'm afraid, like if I can't see the bottom, I don't want to swim. And I'm afraid of the ocean. I don't know how to swim, or I'm not a good swimmer. So let's open up that conversation. You know, you meet somebody that wants to learn how to scuba, but they don't know how to swim.
That's something that it like I'm super passionate about that, and I'm not a swim instructor, but maybe someday.
Let's talk about it.
Always learning, but it's one of those. Some people, sometimes like you said, sometimes it is situations in your life. Sometimes it's you know, if no one in your family swims, it's not going to be their first thought to teach you to swim. It's not, or if you had like a drowning experience as a kid, you know, a lot of times pool safety is huge. And so different people have different experiences, and some of them are a lot scarier than others. But having those basic survival swim skills is so important. And I would recommend to anyone, no matter what age you are, and like I was just talking about, like you're never too old to learn something new. And sometimes there's that, well, there's just kids in swim classes. Like as an adult, like there are specific like adult swim classes, or even if it's just going out with your friend who's a good swimmer and just having them like help you get comfortable, or if you are working with a dive instructor, having them help you get comfortable, because to learn to dive, you have to pass a survival swim test. I'm not trying to time you. You have to swim a certain distance, because I need to make sure that you can safely get back to the boat or get back to shore if something were to happen. And also to make sure, obviously, there's like a health aspect when it comes to diving. Some people say diving's for everyone, and some people think it's only for the elite, and it's kind of in the middle. You know, it's for most people. But obviously, if you have certain health conditions, or if you physically aren't able to do certain things, then maybe it's not for you, although there's a lot of really cool adaptations, but that's a whole nother story. But swimming is, and being comfortable in the water, it's not for everyone, but there's some people who are holding back from that, that I've seen personally overcome whatever fear or things that were holding them back. And it's really amazing.
It is.
It changes it for them, but it changes it for their family. It changes it for their friends. You know, I have a friend who learned to swim as an adult, and it's completely changed how he's raising his daughters, because his daughters go to the beach all the time. He never wanted to go to the beach as a kid. His family didn't take him to the beach as a child, but now he laughs because his daughters are like little water babies, and they're always out in the water. And, you know, that's something that if he hadn't, as an adult, took that chance and decided to overcome that fear and learn how to swim, you know, it's something that his daughter's childhood would be completely different. And that's not good or bad. And like you said, like some people choose not to swim, and that is completely their choice, and it's up to them. But if it's one of those, like you want to scuba dive, you want to swim, like you said, it's not a super rigorous test, and obviously that's in the eye of the holder. But it's one of those, I need to make sure that you're going to be safe. I need to make sure that you can to swim a certain distance to make sure that everything's going to be okay. I need to make sure you can either float or tread water to make sure that if a situation were to arise that you need to do so, you could. But it's one of those things that water safety is so important for everyone, because, and like you said, for people who live close to the water, accidents happen, floods happen. We have flooding here in Texas. We have storms. We have situations a loved one falls into the water and you want to help them. So getting to the point where, and finding the right person to help teach you that. So finding someone who is going to care and who is going to be able to, even if they can't completely relate because they haven't experienced that, someone who can at least be empathetic towards that situation, no matter what the situation is so important. And I think diving is a really good way to do that. And of course, I'm going to say that because
hello, diving with Jess.
It's cool because, like you said, some people they're okay with being at the pool, but they don't ever want to swim in deep water.
Right. Yeah, they
When
can see the
you're
bottom. It's
diving,
yeah, kid
you
pool.
you have a completely different view. It's not,
Yep.
here's the surface, here's the surface of the water,
Yeah.
and everything down is just dark and I don't know what it is and I can't see it. Once you become a scuba diver, once you put that mask on your face, even if you're just snorkeling, even if you're not snorkeling, you're standing in the water and you have a mask on your face.
I know.
When you see underwater, it completely changes the situation, because
100%.
now it's not this, it's kind of like last week when we talked about first night dives. Before it's just like black nothingness, but then you go down there and it's beautiful and there's all this stuff to see, and it's that huge difference of having that piece of plastic on your face or not, of putting that mask on, and it opens up your whole world. So now the bottom isn't so scary anymore. You can see the bottom, you can see the fish, maybe you're close to the bottom, so now the bottom's not so far away, it's not so scary, right?
Exactly.
And it
We've
changes
got a
your
comment.
perspective.
We've got a commenter which is pretty dope. Speaks exactly to what we're talking about. This is JD Simons. Shout out to you, JD, fellow instructor. Jess, yeah. JD's out here doing ocean hero work, and he's saying life altering, transforming lives. Um, Thank you so much for being on the live, JD. Love your comment. It says Aquanaut. Yep. But Jess, it's like expanding on it, because a lot I don't think too many people in the diving space, even if they did sort of come up from, I don't swim, now I swim, I'm comfortable, and now I'm a diver, tend not to reflect. And you know again, being on an island where the ocean is never more than a mile away, if you strip the to me, again, the ability to be comfortable in the water and know how to swim, got to recognize, you guys out there, that also can mean boat trips, that could mean fishing trips, that could mean potentially not taking the ferry to work, because there's sort of that innate fear, not sailing, not kayaking, not paddleboarding. So learning how to swim is fundamentally, it's cornerstone. I'm trying to find the right word, but there's so much out there that is not applicable if you take the ability to be comfortable in the water. So I think, what I want to do, something I've been wanting to do for a long time, is craft, I don't know, a website or some kind of a resource where someone, a resident in Bermuda, can go, where I can sort of craft sort of continuity, take you from 0 all the way to 100, connect people to diving instructors in Bermuda that can help sort that out. Shout out to Alicia Miller, who runs I Swim at the National Stadium. She teaches kids and adults how to swim. She's one of many that can help with that part of the journey. And what you'd find is, sure, you might reach out to her and learn how to swim, and then for diving, and recognize, oh, I can paddleboard, kayak, boat, get on, do deep sea fishing, feel comfortable, get on the ferry, feel comfortable. So, like JD said, knowing how to swim, life altering, it transforms lives. And Jessica hit on this earlier about just the safety side, not just having yourself be safe, but you can be, for example, at Admiralty Park hanging out, and someone has runs into difficulty. You're able to jump in the water and potentially help that person. Um, so yeah, it's just something that I don't, safety and sharing stories, um, sharing those tragic stories, to be just open and vulnerable with you guys, is something that we tend not to do. Um, and I've got a few that resulted in loss of life, where I was firsthand, secondhand in some very very bad situations. And I think that one of the ones that comes front of mind right now, and you can see my face, my emotion comes through my face, was a drowning. And that particular incident did cause the community to pause and reflect on what happened, who he was, the contribution he made to the community on many different fronts. And we just, a couple pockets of us in the community just were like, what's the net of this? Like, what's the biggest takeaway? And it was, safety. It was a shallow water blackout incident. And I haven't talked about it. Very few people know that I was, on the boat, on the water, that was pretty much first on the scene to the recovery. We'll save that for another live. But shout out to the family and friends of the late Dr. Neil Burney. So I'll share that story some other time. But learning how to swim, you guys, and keeping safety at the forefront. Those of you that know me know, like, I wouldn't call myself like over the top with safety, but definitely, and I'm not an instructor, but situational awareness. And I know, Jess, when you're on a boat or if you're doing a shore dive, especially with like taking out certified divers that you don't know, you got your sort of spidey senses looking at how they put their gear together, how they put their fins on, the dialogue that they're having between themselves and their buddies, and the questions they might ask you. And you can tell, like in any sport, right? You're able to tell in like 30 seconds. If you're a master at your craft, you can tell quite quick, the level that your peers or the people around you are at. And I know, so I get on the dive boat and I know right away, like, okay, I might have to bring up the rear with that group because buddy's got all the gear but no idea because anyway, I got stories. We could have this live going all night. But yeah, you guys, just to, again, happy to answer any questions you might have in the chat. JD, thank you so much for being on the live. Now, I'll be honest with you guys that are on the live. I think I only see comments from one page. I have StreamYard broadcasting to 3 destinations: my page, my profile, and YouTube. I don't think I'm seeing all the comments, so I do apologize. I'm able to go back on Facebook, and I love the post live engagement because I can always go back and Jess and I can answer your questions if we didn't happen to see them on the live show. But yeah, Jess, talk to me about safety a bit and some of the stuff I just went on about with regard to situational awareness and comfort. And as an instructor, you don't have to share details, but some hairy situation that you remember that you're comfortable to share with our audience. I mean, our topic is, again, I'll just bring it up. Where is it here? Where's the button? Yeah, getting started in scuba diving. I don't want to candy coat this at all for you guys, and I'm Mr. like cautiously optimistic, right? But scuba diving is considered a dangerous sport. When you go to get insurance, life insurance, they ask you, do you scuba dive? Do you skydive? Do you bungee jump? So, I don't want to, again, like make this seem as if like it's this thing, right? That's you can just go out and do. You're breathing off of, equipment underwater in what some consider a very hostile environment. So things can happen. So let's just talk about safety for a bit, Jess.
Yeah. So that's it. Safety is so important. And I think that with diving, it's really cool because you get to see this extreme environment like you were talking about. It's a place we're not supposed to be able to be breathing, where it's a place that we're not meant to be per se, but we're there, and that's fantastic. And we have this awesome equipment that lets us be there. And I think that with scuba diving, it's really neat because you get to take something that is quote unquote dangerous, or can seem that way, and with the right skills, with the right tool set, you can make it into a safer environment, and you can make it so it's still fun. So a lot of times whenever people are going into like more difficult, or you're talking about these really, really safety driven things, a lot of times they're not really fun. But with diving, when you have a strong base, when you have that strong knowledge, whenever you paid attention in your open water and you learn the skills and you learn them right, and you go on and you take your other classes and you take rescue and you keep building your skill set as a diver. And as you grow, so as I came up and I became an instructor, so like you're talking about situational awareness, you as an open water diver are not going to have the same situational awareness that I have as an instructor. And that's okay. I have years of experience in very specific situations that you haven't experienced. So yeah, I might notice that it's the quietest diver on the boat and the loudest diver on the boat that I'm the most worried about. I'll be watching them the most because it's that overconfidence and that like silent shutdown that are my worry spots whenever it comes to divers on a boat, especially divers I don't know. And it's watching people's eyes. So, making sure I don't like it when my students have the reflective lenses. I know spearfisher really love those, and I totally understand. But when it comes to like teaching, being able to see people's eyes,
Oh my
so
gosh.
expressive, and mine are overly expressive. So sorry, guys.
Like
um,
honestly, I take people on eco tours and we're snorkeling, and it's amazing. Just where I'm like, yo, are you okay? And the eyes are like a deer in headlights, and it's yeah, yeah. I'm like, so I gotta like take him to the side. I'm like, we're snorkeling, right? I'm like, I heard what you're saying, but I see you, like, and what I see tells me that you're not okay. Let's
yeah.
go back to the beach and find a mask that might not flood or fog as much, right? But I digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but it is. So that's the important thing. So taking it seriously, open water class is so much fun, and you get to have these awesome experiences with your friends or the people who are about to become your dive buddies. But paying attention to the safety side of it, because, and I think that's why divers, and I could be wrong, this is just my personal opinion, but I think that's why divers bond to other divers so much, because we understand that it's not just like when you go out to a golf course to play around, you're not like, oh,
Oh
something really
boy.
bad could happen and I might have to respond to that, and I'm not saying that nothing bad has
No,
ever
no,
happened on a golf course, but
no, no, no. My cousin Kamiko Smith is one of the handful of professional Bermudian golfers, and I think he might be on the live. So of all the sports for you to pick out, hey Kamiko,
I'm sorry,
that's
guys,
funny.
but I
I
do
I
feel
always
like
talk about
golfing.
golf. I always compare diving to golf because people say, and I don't want to like digress, but people say, scuba diving's so expensive. Like I called the LDS, the local dive shop, and the open water is like $500, and then I want to buy my own gear. That's another this. I'm like, yeah, but there's probably 50 other sports I can think of that are just as, if not more, expensive.
And
But
scuba is
either
so
way,
cool.
scuba's so cool. Anyway, anyways.
Well, yeah, sorry, because I definitely call out golfing in the most loving way. But whenever people try to tell me that diving is expensive, I was like, how much does it cost to play one round of golf at a fancy course? How much did your clubs cost? So, but that's, but I'm also not a golfer, so I'm a little biased. But yeah, but you have a different level of responsibility when you're diving. Even as an open water diver, going out with your buddy, it's just, you're certified, you're out there, you have a different level of responsibility. You have a different level of connection because you understand that when you're underwater, if a situation happens, it's your responsibility to address that situation in the safest way possible up to your level of knowledge. So obviously, I have a higher responsibility than someone who just got certified, but we both have a responsibility whenever it comes to our safety and the safety of the people around us. So I think that helps bond divers because we know everyone else on that boat has been through at least that level of education, and that we are willing. Whenever you sign up to be someone's dive buddy, you are saying, I am willing to have your back. I am willing to, if you run out of air, I will share my air with you. If something happens to you, I will get you to the surface. And that's something that's not going to happen in golf or in a friendly round of basketball. Sorry about that, guys. Um, but so I think that's the safety is also what kind of bonds us together. And because, you're like, I have your back. that's what being a dive buddy is. And if that isn't something that you're interested in and it's not something that you're willing to do, then maybe you should rethink the sport of scuba diving. And I'm not trying to be mean, or I'm not trying to, but it's important because that person isn't just your dive buddy. You are their dive buddy too. And I see that a lot whenever you have mismatched dive levels. Sometimes the person who is the more experienced diver, not professionals or anything like that, but there's a more experienced diver and there's a less experienced diver. A lot of times you'll see the less experienced diver leaning on the more experienced diver. But whenever you're a dive buddy, you're a dive buddy. You are both responsible to each other. Now, if you're diving with me, that's a completely different situation. Like, I've got you. Don't worry. Like, you don't have to have me. It's fine. I mean, I appreciate it if something happened, if you at least let someone know where I was.
Yeah. It's. I mean, fundamentally, and you can. I think there were 3 fundamentals, when it came to diving that you learn right away during your DSD, and certainly as you progress to open water and advanced open water, and then crush a bunch of specialties, and then you reach master diver, is never hold your breath and never dive alone, and that actually extends across disciplines, right? And yeah, like as you get into it, right, you do your DSD locally wherever you are in the world, as long as there's an agency nearby, or during travel, you'll find that you'll learn and you'll progress in the sport. And maybe like Jess and I have done, you travel somewhere to dive and you don't know anybody, so you are put in a situation where you're one of probably 8, 10, 20 other people on the boat, and it's up to the captain, crew, and the instructors around to they do their job at sort of pairing people up accordingly. But you're with somebody that you don't know at all. And in fact, you may be paired up with somebody that doesn't speak your language either. But okay is okay, and I'm not okay as I'm not okay. You learn a bunch of fundamental signals right away in the early stages. And yeah, you do your giant stride or your back roll or walk off the beach. And as soon as you're underwater, you guys definitely have each other's back. I know the elephant in the room is self-reliant diving and solo diving. There are courses and agencies that do teach that, and but we'll save that conversation for another time. Around here, we always dive with a buddy. Anything can happen. It's always wonderful to have another pair of eyes and hands and another mind in the water that can at least help you keep everything. Because you got to remember, your life support system, a good bit of it is out of your view. It's behind you. So having a buddy, just keeping an eye on any leaking bubbles that you might not be able to hear. Maybe your the strap that's holding your tank on your jacket has come loose, so your cylinder's actually falling out of your bands. Or there's something kind of gray with an eye sort of creeping around. Could be a big parrot fish. Who knows? But in terms of getting into scuba diving, you guys already know we're over an hour into the stream. We're excited about what we do. We love what we do. We have the training and the skills, and we've invested resources, a lot of time, a lot of money. My buddy told me years ago, he said, bro, you stop counting once you hit $50,000. And yeah, I mean, he's an accountant, so he probably still counts every dollar. But honestly, once you get into it, once you add up all the training, the gear, the traveling, diving and other diving destinations, and then the gear constantly evolves. And I want to have Jess and others on board on a live just to talk about gear, because people think like the gear you buy when you start out, okay, cool, that's my kit, like in perpetuity. It's like, no, not taking into account stuff that gets lost, stolen, broken, worn, left on the dive boat, left at the resort, dive computer falls off your wrist, GoPro that floods. I got an old Hero 4. This is like my 5th Hero 4. I still run the 4 Silver, you guys. Check my labeling. Just because it's 2.7K, what, 60? Yeah, it's fine. So, yeah, lights. We talked about night diving. You can't do a night dive without lights. And I fly with 2, maybe 3, and then they flood, or your buddy, Jess, you got the lights, you twist on, twist off. Well, I've been at depth, and I'm like, yeah, tell my buddy, twist and twist, 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 and it opens, right? Like, no, you do half twist. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, but JD, if you're still on the live, thank you. I would have. I mean, if I knew you were going to jump on, I would have pulled you in to the conversation. If you were good for that, but Fred, Will, Chris, I can't actually tell who is on the live based on from this console, but yeah, man, this is dope. So, I have a question, and it's a little it's interesting because we talked about people that don't dabble in ocean activities because they're missing the foundation of being able how to swim. JD, I think that, and just chime in real quick, I think Bermuda, and again, this is in a global context, right? I don't want to keep like drilling into Bermuda, but this is my home, it's my show, I can do whatever I want. Dormant divers, right? Like, my buddy Curtis Richardson posted a question to me yesterday. He's like, put this in the live, I want to know. He said, bro, I got certified back in 2013 overseas. So he did the DSD, he got certified in his open water, and he dove for 1 year and then stopped. And he hasn't been, no, 2003. I thought I said 13, but 2003, so quite a while ago. And he stopped diving around 2005. So he's like, bro, I see what you're doing. I want to get out there with you. I haven't been in the ocean since 2005. What do I do? So, Instructor Diving with Jess. What would Curtis have to do if you were here with us and you were able to help him out?
Well, I would love to. So you have 2 options in this situation. So depending on your level of skill before you stopped diving and how long of a break you've had, you can either take a reactivate or refresher course. So that is going to be a little bit more, we're going to go over the skills. We're going to make sure that you're comfortable with all of your normal scuba diving skills. We're going to get you back in the water. You're going to have different like checklists, but it's just like real simple. Go over it, refresher, make sure you're comfortable. And this is something that we didn't really address earlier, but finding an instructor who fits your style, your learning style, and also like what you're interested in, your personality, is really important because we're all different human beings. And so finding someone that you mesh well with, maybe you got certified and maybe the reason you didn't have a great DSD or you didn't keep diving is maybe because you and your instructor, not saying anyone has any faults anywhere, but maybe you just didn't hit it off, and maybe you didn't feel like you learned as much as you wanted to, or maybe it went too fast, or if it was, there's different things that can happen. So doing a little bit of homework and trying to figure out, so like with my classes are really small. It's very individualized. We take it slow. That might annoy someone, but other people love it. So finding someone who's a good fit for you is really important too, because you're about to spend a lot of time and money on this. But if you haven't been diving in a while, and let's say you never got past open water, and you maybe only dove for a short period of time, you never felt super comfortable with it. And if it's been a long time, especially over 10 years, like your friend, it might be worth taking an open water course again, because over time things change. So let's say it wasn't 2003. Let's say it was 1983 that he got certified in. The equipment is completely different. The dive computers, the regulators, the tank valves for certain tanks, obviously, it's so different that it's not even really the same sport. The dive tables have changed so much. There's so much new information that you can't really cover that in just a refresher. So to going through and taking an open water course in a situation like that is, I think, the best course of action. So whenever you go and you find the person that you wanted to do your refresher with, let them know where you're at. So let them know how long it's been since you've been diving, what your level was before, what your comfort level was before. So you might have been a rescue diver, but let's say there were certain things that you didn't feel comfortable with, or you really just wanted to get over again, then going back and doing an open water course might be the best option for you. Now, if it's only been a year and you were comfortable, but you're about to go on a trip and you just want to make sure all your equipment's good and that your skills are good, get some of that dust off, doing a refresher course or a reactivate is a really, really good option there. Because you get to get back out but instead of diving with just your dive buddy, you're diving with an instructor, so they can make sure that you're solid on all of your skills. They might have some pointers for you, that type of thing.
Couldn't agree more. I get asked a lot, bro, I want to come out with you. Let's go. Most of the time it's free diving because I want to hunt for different things. Scuba, sure. I bumped into a friend of mine I went to high school with, and she got certified in high school, and bless her heart, she still had her kit from 1998. And I'm just like, and JD, listening to this one, she bought the kit from Making Waves back when they were down on Front Street and hadn't used it in like 2 decades. And she's like, hey, I went to store it and he said, I got to get a new one. He can't fix it, but I think, I can kind of make it work. I was like, hey, that's your life support system. I'd love to see you back in the water. I'd love to get out there with you. But yeah, I want to dive in with that, super old BCD that probably has some weird fitting and the webbing's gone all funny and the inflator hose would disintegrate when it touches water. But yeah, in terms of like having taken a sabbatical from scuba diving, being certified, just hit all those points. Were you, a master scuba diver or even a dive master, and then you decide to take a pause for 10, 20 years? So I think every situation is unique. And when I mentioned to Curtis, I just said refresher, but I think Patty did rebrand it to the reactivate. Now, one question he had is like, does your certification ever expire? And I was like, well,
not technically. So there's no expiration date on it. And it depends. It depends on the agency, but with Patty, there's no expiration date on your cards. But again, safety always has to come first,
Right.
because without safety, there's no diving. So, don't cut corners on your life support. Cut corners other places. Get the off-brand chips. But don't cut corners whenever it comes to your regulator, to your tank, and your skills. Your skills are part of your survival kit. It's not just your regulator. It's not just the physical things. It's what's up here. And like I talked about earlier, it's that muscle memory. Because you are going to do your body in a situation, you're going to do what you remember. You're going to do what you've practiced. And so if you haven't practiced it for a long time and a situation arises where time is of the essence, it's important to make sure that you have that skill set down. And that's what's going to make sure, you're going to have so much more fun whenever you're diving underwater and you're looking at all this cool stuff and you see those huge parrotfish. I've never seen a parrotfish that big before, by the way. That sounded amazing when you were talking about how big your parrotfish get. That sounds fantastic. But you're going to have so much more fun if you're not worried and like uncomfortable and like, oh man, I don't feel comfortable. I'm worried. I'm checking all my stuff constantly.
Right.
You have a little bit more adrenaline going. You're going to go through your air faster. Being a calm, collected diver, you're going to have so much more fun.
Yep.
And that really relies heavily on your comfort, which relies on your skills.
Yeah.
So some people, and you might, let's say you think a refresher is good enough and you go and you're going over it and maybe you're struggling with some skills, or maybe you go over the things that are on that checklist, but you want to go over more. Just talk to your instructor and be like, hey, I thought a refresher or reactivate was enough. I want to go and take the full course again. When's your next open water course?
You know what? And I know we got some instructors in the room in addition to you, Jess. And I'm not an instructor, so I could say stuff. That's not easy. It's not easy. I think that for those of you on the live again or watching this on the replay, you definitely want to be assertive with what you signed up for, right? Um, Please, like, ask your instructors questions. Find the time, and I think I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but Jess and I, we're in the space. I've been to dive shops where there's you and 20 other people trying to get logbooks filled out, asking a whole bunch of questions. Um, Maybe there's another group of divers coming in to get on the boat or enjoy the experience you just had on another outing. Don't just pack your things and run and flee. The instructor you had or the instructors that work for the LDS are there to help you. And you got to be a bit assertive, bit brave in some cases to hang back and wait until the dust settles, sand, dust, salt, swizzle. No, and just hang back, man. And there'll be somebody around. It might not be the instructor you were paired with, but he or she will have peers that will be able to help you. And that's just important to reiterate, because I know, like, I go out with the local shops here. Everybody's dope, but everybody's busy, right? And unless you make it known that you have a question or you have a problem, or you're keen to make a big decision like buying your own equipment, which we'll talk about on another show, because I want to kind of make sure that people recognize you don't have to buy your own gear right away either. So in terms of expense being a boundary, it's like, no, you can actually go out diving and rent equipment every dive for a while, but your instructor will certainly direct you to ownership for a number of reasons. It's not necessarily to upsell you any equipment, but once you're in kit that's yours, that fits you perfectly, and like, this is it, this is what I'm going to be wearing every time, you get comfortable with that equipment, and then you embrace the sport even more. You just feel more comfortable at depth, and your instructor can help you get the right stuff and get it all dialed in just right. And then you'll find, okay, cha, this is real wicked. Like, um, but yeah, I'm gonna put this up because JD's an instructor too, so he definitely can speak your language, Jess. Where I'm just a guy. So JD, shout out again, brother. Well, like Jess said earlier, instructors are more often empathetic. We understand. Just talk to us like we are all really cool.
It's so true.
Yeah,
It's so
it
true.
is. All the diving instructors I've met all have this just an awesome vibe. And what I want to encourage is, like, if your instructors appear busy, just sit back, find an opening, and ask those questions that you need answered while you're there, if possible. And again, I do a lot of diving in Mexico. I don't speak Spanish, so it's always really cool to pick up on some tidbits and find an instructor that's bilingual. And if you speak a second language, you are an avenger. Like, I think it's such a superpower to be able to speak more than one language. Um, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I've been in some situations where it's a bit of a like herding cats, and I've been in other situations where it'll be me, you, and JD on a boat all to ourselves, which is nice. Or it's a bunch of us on the MV Fling doing a research expedition, diving in some like phenomenal. Anyway,
So much fun. But yeah, and that's the big thing. It's like some people some people don't, and some people view instructors as their peers, but some people put instructors up on a pedestal, and we're not up on a pedestal. We're here because we like to dive. That's why we became instructors. Someone forced me to become an instructor. I became an instructor because I love scuba diving and I want to share that with other people. So if you come up to me and you're like, hey, Jess, I have questions about scuba diving, I'm going to talk to you. And if for some reason I'm busy and I can't talk to you at that moment, I will find time to talk to you later. But it kind of it goes back to we're not mind readers. We're just humans, just like you. So if there's something that you really want to ask me or ask your instructor, and I look like I'm focusing on my equipment, or I'm staring off at the horizon, or I'm talking to another diver, it doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to you or that your question isn't important. It just means that you need to let me know what's going on, or if something's wrong, but you don't want to bother me. That's the other thing is, don't let bothering someone ever get into the way of especially with safety, but also your comfort. So, if something is going on and you're like, oh man, I'm not really familiar with this equipment, but I don't want to bother the dive master, it's fine, I'll figure it out. And then there's an issue later, that could have been avoided. So making sure that you ask those questions, that you let people know, because we're not mind readers, that if something's wrong or if you have a question, and just remember, we're in it because we like it. No one's forcing us to be dive master or instructor. So if you want to ask cool scuba questions, come ask cool scuba questions. If you want to ask a dumb, quote unquote, dumb question, we've probably been asked it 100 times before. It's not dumb. You just don't know the answer. That's okay. You're about to, because I'm going to tell you.
Indeed, indeed. And we've touched on safety often in this call, and it's like, small things become big things.
Yeah.
And
In all the reports, it's
yeah,
not one thing that went wrong. It's one little thing and then another thing and another
yeah,
thing. And that is why there was a catastrophic incident. And that's so, so important to pay attention to. If you're having an off day or if there's something going on and, oh man, I forgot my equipment. Oh man, this thing went wrong with my gear. Oh man, I don't know my dive buddy and they seem like they might be a little reckless. These little things that, well, one of them might not be a big deal, that can end up being a really not good situation. So paying attention to that, and I don't know, most agencies talk about this, but any diver can call any dive for any reason at any time.
yeah. The shout out to Christina Zanato, who's well known in the diving world with her shark conservation work and cave diving. But yeah, she's got a great video online. I think it's the any rule, and I don't know it verbatim, but like any diver can call the dive at any time for any reason, and the way she crafts it is just so critical. But yeah, Jess, you just hit the nail on the head. Like any dive can call the dive at any time, and you just don't have to do that. And as you continue, your journey in scuba, certainly we haven't touched on this at all because of course the topic is getting started. We're not talking about sort of later on when you decide to dabble into more advanced diving, technical diving, cave diving, rebreather diving. Things get very interesting. Um, but that's how it goes for some people, right? And it's sort of important to know how far down the rabbit hole you can go. And in terms of like taking an open water course today versus 10 years ago, you open your open water certification book, your logbook, there's rebreather stuff in there, where when I was cutting my teeth in the sport, closed circuit rebreathers were like, you know, next level. So to see Patty and other agencies adopt CCR diving as well as free diving. I never thought I'd see a free diver on the cover of Scuba magazine, but it is. It has been. So I'm like, okay, cool. You know, so safety first, and we could probably dedicate a show just strictly to gear and safety and just share tips and tricks in that space because yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to discuss, but like my old friend Graham Maddox used to say, we want everybody to make it back home to their families after this dive. And he had the raspy voice too, right? Like try to yeah, shout out to Graham. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a while, brother. If you get your eyes and ears on this live, thinking about you, man. But yeah, like we love this, putting our eyes on the water. It's wonderful. All the things you see and do. We're talking about like the human connection, whether it's the human connection to the ocean itself and the creatures below, and all the life, as well as the interhuman connection, the connection you make with your dive buddies, and even look at what Jessica and I met through diving. Before we met in 2009 on that expedition,
Complete strangers before.
I didn't know Jess at all, and now we're hanging out every week, it seems. So and we're making plans where I can come there or she can come here. I think JD, we can get Jess here. I think that would be quite nice. So JD, as far as I know, if he's still on the live, because I don't know, JD works for Bermuda's Coast Guard.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it'd be great to get JD on and talk about what he's doing, his whole journey. JD has a very decorated journey through different local ocean organizations, and yeah, it's crazy. He's a rock star. So we were in the Bahamas a few years ago, down there diving and checking out all kinds of different things. Um, I don't think we dove together when we were there. And we haven't dove that much together here. JD, we have a problem. We have a problem.
Homework assignment.
We have a problem. Yeah, it's giving me the double okay. Like, JD, honestly, while I got you, man, have we been on a full dive together? We've. I'm getting old on her, man. I'm trying to think like a full on. You're my buddy. I'm your buddy. I don't think so. I did the diver invasion stuff. We were like free diving for lionfish. We did the 50 dives in 50 days with the regiment. But I wasn't like, anyway, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. It'll be Jess, JD, and myself all on a reef hunting lionfish and getting close and personal with these 3-foot parrotfish. Jess. Well, it's been an hour and a half since I've had this stream up. I don't want to keep you. So
all right. Well, I will get on out of here. I want to say really fast before I go, though, the last point is when you get into diving, it opens up your entire world because you just got access to the other 70%. And yeah, you can't dive in the whole blue 70% of the world, but it gives you, it's like you were talking about how you call the ocean your backyard in Bermuda. It is. And if you don't dive, if you don't go into the ocean, it's like, well, you just moved into an apartment instead of having this beautiful backyard. You just chop that all off. You don't have it any, but once you get into diving and the ocean becomes your backyard, your playground, you get access to so much, and it takes you to places that you might not have ever gone. If I wasn't a diver, maybe I wouldn't have a great reason to go to Bermuda. Maybe it'd just be like on a checklist, something cool to do. I'm sure there's amazing things to do on land, which I look forward to, and I can't wait to find out what all those things are. But maybe I wouldn't take the time and money to get all the way to Bermuda. But because I'm a diver, because I have this diving checklist that's always growing, no matter how many places I check off, it's always going. It takes me to all these places that I maybe wouldn't have had a good reason to go to. But when I go there, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who's going to be on the dive boat sitting across from you, and so diving opens up. So if you're thinking about getting into diving, like it opens up your world to all of these other possibilities, whether, what you're going to see underwater, who you're going to meet, places you're going to go, and the other things that you might try, because when you're on a dive trip, you can't dive 24/7. So you're going to have to fill your time other ways. So, it just, you might try all sorts of other things that you never would have if you hadn't just taken that leap, that dive into diving. And so it's really cool. So thank you so much for having me, Weldon. I love talking with you guys, and I hope you guys had a really fun time.
Hold on. I'm gonna put your name back up on the display, and we're gonna handle some business real quick. Everybody, Jessica Lee, Diving with Jess. Please give Jess a follow on Instagram and Facebook. Jess, I'm gonna play around with this real quick. What I want to do is get rid of me. I want to get rid of me, and I want to share this tab. I've got your Facebook page up, and I'm just trying to figure out how to, So Diving with Jess on Facebook, facebook.com/diving with Jess. Please go and give Jess a like and a follow and like some posts and leave Jess a couple of comments. It all helps with the engagement, you guys. And you can see Jess has been, wow, super supportive of this brand new show, Jess. I'm like blown away. It's just taking it all in. There she is. That's the cover. That's the artwork, or the photo, sorry, that I used for the artwork for this week. And as well, I just want to share your, let me stop sharing that. And I want to share your Instagram page. I got that up as well. Give Jess a follow on Instagram, you guys. Let's keep the engagement up. I encourage Jessica to post more photos.
I know. I'm gonna get better, guys. I have so many pictures from all my years of diving. I just have to get them on Instagram. But yeah, but it's fun. So diving with Jess is all about eco-focused dive training and travel. So my background's in marine biology, and I'm a total fish nerd. And like I said earlier, scientific diving, and then turned into an instructor. So anytime that I go on a trip or I teach a class, it's always it's about the people, and it's also about connecting you to the watery world that we live in. So,
boom. So, she's out there. Please give Jess a follow and a like and comment and engage in everything she does, and encourage her to post more stuff and share more stories, because I don't know too much about the diving over in Texas other than what I did with you, which was on a liveaboard. So I'd love to hear more about what an experience diving in Texas is like. Honestly, I don't think of Texas when I think of diving destinations.
Well, we'll change that.
Yeah, but I don't say that as sort of in a like tongue in cheek, because Bermuda, being the shipwreck capital of the Atlantic, we tend not to be thought of as a diving destination, to be honest. And there are reasons for that, which I'll probably talk about another time. But I know certainly beautiful places like Curacao, Bonaire, Aruba, Cayman. There are many. Cozumel. There's certain destinations that are on my like must-see list, and I've been to many, but not most. I've never been to the ABCs or to Grenada and some.
Love Bonaire.
Yeah, I need to get down there. So, but yeah, you are right. We could definitely talk all night long. So, I'd love to have you back another time. I don't want to dominate your Wednesday nights.
I don't want to bore people. They might get tired of seeing me. I will happily come back anytime if you ever want to talk about anything more in the scientific world or conservation or safety, anything really. Like I said, I like talking about scuba. So I will get out of your hair. And
No, not yet. Hold on. We got a couple comments. We got Fred. Fred saw the wow moment today with the kids at Water Start. JD went through Water Start. I'll be at Water Start next Thursday. It's a wonderful program run on an island called Burt Island. And that's what got us to the Bahamas back a few years ago. So Fred, wonderful to see you on the live, man. You hung out pretty much the whole stream. That's dope. We got Mike, cousin on the TV. That I don't know who that is. Is that your cousin?
Oh, that's my cousin.
Yes.
Hey, Mike.
And Linda says, great talk. So real quick, family, for those of you that are on the live stream, Jess is saying like she doesn't want to, she thinks we'll be tired of her face. Something she said that just threw me right off. Do we want to have Jess back another week or two? Let me know either on the live or, slide on my DMs. I think that, Jess, when you come to Bermuda, everybody's going to know who you are. I'll make sure of that. But I got Fred saying absolutely he'd love to see your face again and hear more stories about your what you do over there. And Fred's dope. Magic, you on the stream, boy? Oh my there. Oh shoot. Where's my drink? Magic. Love you, brother. Oh no, things are getting a little rowdy in here, Jess. We're keeping Jess for a while, so
it's gonna be a wade in the water takeover. You better watch out.
This is it. Jess in the water. I don't know. We're gonna switch it right up.
Hey man, that's my happy place, so I'm all right with that.
Magic. We got to get back in the water, man. It's been too long. So again, Jess, we got to shut this down. I'm afraid. Linda says yes. She'd love to have you back. Um, Thank you, Jess, for hanging out on this second episode of the Wade in the Water Late Live show. It's about 11:35 here in Bermuda tonight. Hold on. What's this here? Oh, hold on. They're coming in still, Jess.
Oh, yep.
So Mike says, one of these days, you're going to have to give me one of them diving lessons I'm hearing so much about. Yeah, Mike, let's get your gills wet. Let's get you sorted out, get you certified.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And yeah, I'll definitely free more time up next week. But yeah, let's figure out a topic and let's run with it. And Jess, if you want to come back, we'll have you back. And JD, if you're free next Wednesday night between 10 and midnight, Magic, goodness, if you want to jump on the live, man, you could jump on the live and just share your stories about your journey. And yeah, this is, it's not all about me, you guys. You know how this goes. I just extended the live for like 2 hours. Okay. 10 to midnight. Mike, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? No, Mike, I got some cool stuff. So don't start. I got a cool shark fin hood thing for diving.
I got my whale shark suit. I've got my whale shark suit.
Yes. Oh, I'm gonna wait, Jess. We're gonna do something. You've got a. Where's the picture? I'm gonna share that. You got it up. Do you have a bigger version of it though?
So, I do on my. Oh, I don't know if you can go on my personal profile. It's my profile picture without any text on it. But
no. I'm gonna just show this to the guys. We've been trying to go for the last 20 minutes, and it's like I don't want to go. So this is So Jess, are you wearing a whale shark like bodysuit with a whale shark?
I am. It was it was such a cool moment, and I'm so glad that Ken Curtis was there to take the picture of me. He's a really great photographer, and it was such a cool moment. We were in the Philippines, and I was diving down and to get some pictures, and he got this awesome shot of us, a little twin moment. That so yeah, it was a really cool experience for sure. So. The only problem is I don't know how I'm going to top that. I don't know how you top that. All my other pictures are going to be lower on the list.
Well, so I've swam with whales, dolphins, sharks, but never a whale shark.
They're just
beautiful. Like Bermuda is such an interesting place because, we will get whale sharks pass here, but like you got to be out in the abyss. And it's funny, the deep sea fishermen that I know tend to see these quite often. And I'll never forget a fisherman was like just fishing off the back of his boat, and he had video of a whale shark just coming right up to the stern of the boat. And like I'm watching the video and I'm waiting for somebody to grab their gear and jump in, but nobody jumps in. I'm like, I would have been in the water with this thing, That's the kind of the crazy kind of guy I am. But,
they come through the Gulf here in the summer, and I was out on a research cruise, and we were talking about the boat we were on. We weren't allowed to get off of. It was we were towing that, and and they said for insurance reasons we weren't allowed to jump off the boat, and we all made a pact that maybe I shouldn't say this on a Facebook Live video, but we made a pact that if there was a whale, we didn't. There wasn't a whale shark, but if there was a whale shark, that we one of us would accidentally fall in and the other ones would have to get in to save the person.
Right. Of course.
And maybe also have our mass snorkel fins.
Of course.
But no whale shark showed up, so no such luck one of these days.
Well, it's fair to say that we do experience a humpback whale migration the first quarter of the year here. And if you are on a whale watching trip on a boat, you can't jump in with them. So you have to be on a private boat, and then there's some rules and some etiquette to it all. We certainly don't want people cutting the whales off or their path or jumping on the whales or anything like that. So yeah, that's a thing here. Um, yeah, I'm just sad. I don't want to go. Let's hope every live is as engaging and as just vibrant and full of so much valuable information and insight and optimism. And it's just great. And the engagement's been great too. Thank you for everybody that joined us tonight. So wherever you are in the world, you could have been anywhere, but you chose to be with us. See you next week, same time, same place. Wade in the Water, late live show with your host Weldon Wade, with special guest Jessica Lee again, maybe. We'll talk about it. They want you back. What can I say? So
sign me up. Sign me up.
We're gonna do it. Let's think of a topic, and we'll pull some other rock stars on the stream as well. Jess, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. I'm gonna cue the TBI ad, and that's all we got. My name is Weldon Wade. I'm an avid ocean advocate, diver, and community activist. Well, for me, what I love doing the most is bringing the community together. I love hosting beach cleanups and lionfish calling events, bringing businesses and the community in general together to unite for a common purpose, which would, in the cases that I'm involved in, is removing trash from the ocean. I mean, the ocean really connects us all, and